I like to dedicate this to all of the Creator's righteous children. I have some food in my bag for you. Not that edible food, the food you eat. No, I have some food for thought. Since knowledge is infinite, it has infinitely fell on me.
Peace, all of you out there. Welcome to another episode of Discovered. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about a movie that came out in 2011, and it was a simple indie movie that is a good representation for people going through the LGBTQIA struggle in the Black community. And it was a movie called Pariah. It's the story of a girl named Alike, or Lee as she is called, who is a 17-year-old junior who is a lesbian trying to find her place. She lives with her dad, who is a cop and works late hours, and her mom, who is very religious and straight-laced. She also has a younger sister who is like the opposite of her, who talks about going out with boys to prom. Lee has this double life where she goes to the ladies' clubs with her friend Laura, who is also lesbian, but is more confident than Lee. Laura lives with her sister because her mom basically disowned them and is just really a hateful person, but is a good friend to Lee, much to Lee's mother's dismay. Long story short, in the end, Lee ends up coming out to her parents and gets slapped by her mother, which causes her to move out and live with Laura. Luckily for Lee, though, she is an excellent student who is very into poetry and ends up getting into a scholarship to go to college early in Berkeley, which she accepts and decides to leave. Now, one of the big plot points in the story is a friend that Lee makes named Bree, who her mother sets her up with as she goes to her church. At first, Lee just hangs out with Bree to make her mom happy, but after a while, they start to find common ground like music and poetry. Bree tells Lee about a party that she is going to and asks her if she wants to spend the night at her house. While they're kicking it at Bree's house, Bree ends up kissing her, which takes Lee back, and she ends up leaving. The next day at school, they end up talking about it, and Lee agrees to go to the party. They go to the party, and they have a really great time, and Lee seems to be really happy holding hands with Bree and everything. Once the party is over, they get back to Bree's house, and they are lying on her bed, and one thing leads to another, and they end up having sex. When Lee wakes up in the morning, Bree is cleaning the room and seems kind of off. Lee starts to tell her that being with her was amazing and that they can keep their relationship on the DL, but Bree assures her that she is not a lesbian, but that she just kind of does that kind of thing. This pisses Lee off and myself off too, and she storms out and kicks a trash can, running home crying, promoting her parents to start arguing about her, and she ends up coming out. I really do like Bree's character, played by one of my favorite actresses, Asha Davis, who has played on lesbian-friendly shows before, like South of Nowhere, which is also a really good show. It came on around the same time that Degrassi was getting big back in like 2005, 2006, in that era. Bree is a very fun and interesting different girl. She likes underground hip-hop and Afro-punk and dresses very different with her Afro puffs, big earrings, scarves, and colorful leggings. To be honest, I would probably be friends with Bree, except for one thing. I really hate that she played Lee like that. Bree came on to Lee, not the other way around, and to just play with someone who is very vulnerable is terrible. I get it that there are people out there that like to experiment with girls, but she straight played her and then in the end went back to her dumb boyfriend. If you think sleeping with lesbians makes you seem edgy or different, then that's sad. You get all the benefits of being with a girl without the stigma. This was a very interesting indie flick overall that came out in 2011 and did very well at Sundance. I think it is a good representation of a conversation that a lot of Black people need to have. Black people and the church are very intertwined, but it doesn't always make it right. Now, I am not saying that somebody's religion is wrong, but everything that tells you to hate someone for who they are or who they love is just wrong, but that is all up to how that church feels about it. Take Alike's mom, who is, by the way, was played by Kim Wayne, one of the Wayne's comedians, but anyway, she just tried to get Lee to be more girly. She bought her a pink blouse and insisted she go to prom, but also disapproves of Lee's friendship with Laura as she thinks that being around her is turning Lee into a boy. After slapping her child, she promotes Lee to end up moving out and living with Laura. Then, after having a conversation with her dad, Lee goes to visit her mom at work. Lee tries to have a good conversation with her, but all she can say to her is, "I'll pray for you." Now, you can say the mom had it pretty hard, as the dad might have been having an affair and never really cared about her, but that still doesn't give her the right to act the way she does towards her daughter. Now, something else that I liked about this movie is the music. When Lee is hanging out with Bree, they start to bond over some really cool underground hip-hop and Afro-punk like Tamara Kali, who ends up being the musical act at the party in the movie. I love Tamara Kali and thought she was a wonderful artist to represent and have in a movie about self-acceptance, being the queen of Afro-punk. I also loved how they explored different versions of what being a lesbian means. Lee was very different than Laura in that Laura was very much a club girl who finds going in that lifestyle where she is happy, whereas Lee will go to the clubs to support Laura but is more into poetry and music. Another thing that I do like, even though he doesn't always stand up for Lee is in front of her mom, is the fact that the dad tries to relate to Lee. Now, it is hard when you're at work all the time, but he does try to have a good relationship with Lee, like playing basketball with her and having fatherly talks with her. He even feels terrible in the end and tries to get Lee to come home. Now, if this movie was made in 2015, the narrative might be a little different, with homosexual marriage being passed and living under a president who is in favor of LGBTQIA rights, but not by much. Overall, a good little indie flick to check out. Alright, so basically that is Pariah in a nutshell. And I thought it was a really good movie, like I said. And I think it's a good representation for black kids who feel this way and are going through these situations and are not able to communicate well with their families because they are so against it or very much into the church. And like I said, I'm not bashing anybody's religion or anything like that, but that is a serious issue in the black community, and it has been for a really long time. Another series that I think you should check out is Dear White People, and they have a character on there named Lionel, and he is black and going through an LGBTQIA plus experience. And so, I think it's a good conversation for people in the black communities to have, because it's important for you guys and people in general to talk about this, don't bash your family or your child because of something that is natural. It's natural. It's natural. I know you guys are going to say it's not natural, but it's a natural thing to, love who you love. And so I wanted to put this out because of the time of this recording, it is June, and that means that it is National Pride Month. And when I had written and watched Pariah, it was around 2015, and we were living under the Obama administration, and he was very much into and open about supporting the LGBTQIA plus community. But sadly, we live under a President Cheeto administration right now, and it's sad because he does not believe in the LGBTQIA plus community. He doesn't support them. He doesn't support pretty much everybody on planet Earth, but including planet Earth, including Mother Earth. He doesn't support that either. But he had just crazy people in his cabinet where they wanted to go back to the shock therapy way of getting, kids who think they are LGBTQIA plus people to shock them out of it, and go to those camps that they used to have back in the day, where they would have camps to convert you back to being straight and all this crap. It's crazy. And so I want to put this out and just send a positive message of light and love to all of my LGBTQIA plus brothers and sisters out there in the world. Just know that I support you, and I do think that Pariah is a really amazing movie to go and watch. And I think it's still on Netflix. I'm not sure. That's where I first watched it, but I'm sure it's online somewhere. I'm sure you could go bootleg it. But it's a really profound movie that really shows the complexities of being an LGBTQIA plus person and being an African American, because it's not always an easy road, and it's not always an easy road to go through, especially when your family is very strict and very religious, and just the stereotypes that have been perpetuated in our communities for so long. It's hard to really navigate those waters. So this is just a quick discovered on Pariah. And I recommend go checking it out. And happy National Pride Month to all of those in the community. Until next time, peace out.
Got to keep doing my thing. I got to keep doing my thing. Got to keep doing my thing. I got to keep doing my thing. Sometimes I feel like I just won't make it, won't make it, won't make it. New York City's got me down, running around chasing after the wrong crowd. Who do you know? What do you do? Where have you been? Can you even sing? I don't give a damn. You don't know who I am. I got to keep doing my thing. I got to keep doing my thing. Got to keep doing my thing. I got to keep doing my thing.